Let me get to the heart of what is really going on with the battle over the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. The real issue is not a question of sexual assault. The real issue is not, is he qualified to sit on the bench? The real issue is stop him at all costs because he might be a deciding vote that could overturn Roe v. Wade. The real issue is abortion. That is the issue. A woman's, quote, right to abortion. Hence the protests, hence the anger, hence the last minute tactics to derail this. God knows what happened or didn't happen with Professor Ford. God knows every detail of Justice Kavanaugh's life. But that is really not the big issue here. This is a battle about abortion. And let me just say that, God willing, as the Supreme Court takes righteous steps to undo its unrighteous acts in the past, or something happens that one day undermines Roe v. Wade, and now it goes back to individual states, you are going to see anger like you have not seen before. You will contrast that with pro-life rallies, with peaceful, gracious pro-life rallies, with decades and decades of compassionate pro-life work in front of abortion clinics. And yes, there have been a few atrocities, a few terrible, horrific, inexcusable acts where someone was shot or someone was wounded. But for the decades and decades of activism, of reaching out, of pro-life rallies, these things are the terrible, ugly exceptions to the massive, massive rule. Contrast that with what you see in the pro-abortion demonstrations, the anger, the hatred, the vileness. I mean, things that are ugly, bathroom type ugly being done in public, all right? If there is further damage done to the pro-abortion cause, if there is further turning towards righteousness and compassion to save the lives of the unborn, and ultimately to do what's best for mothers, which is never killing the child in the womb. If we see more of a turn like that, if this sacred cow gets threatened, expect all hell to break loose. Expect anger, vile anger. Anger against God, anger against Christians, anger against the Bible, anger against conservatives, anger against the courts, anger against the Republican Party. And I put Republican Party last because there's enough corruption there and in the whole political system. Mark my words, friends, the more this gets threatened, the more you will hear screaming on a hysterical level. Now, in the midst of all this, there are women who are struggling and hurting. And for the most part, they are not the ones that are out there protesting and yelling and screaming. There's a poor woman living in a rundown community with 3 kids that she can barely feed. And her boyfriend took advantage of her. And now she's pregnant. And she can't possibly countenance bringing in child number 4 without a father in the home. And she's struggling. Do I abort the baby? And we want to put our arms around that woman. And we want to love on that woman. And we want to say, hey, that baby in your womb is a gift from God. And if it's not a gift that you can keep, there are many others that will cherish that gift and raise that gift and pour into that child in a way that you'll be proud to meet that kid years later. You don't condemn that person as a wicked, foul sinner to even consider it. No, you recognize there are some people wrestling. And those that think, well, my baby was diagnosed as handicapped in the womb, and I don't think I have what it's going to take to care for a handicapped child. And yeah, there are deep, difficult issues. And that's where the church, we who love life, we who love people, that's where we come together and help and support and say there's hope and there's an answer. Don't kill that baby. Let's look at this together and find a solution that will bring life and happiness and hope to all. There are solutions. But friends, let me say it again. The battle over the confirmation of Justice Kavanaugh is a battle over the, quote, right to abort babies in the womb. And you will see the most radical feminist anger, the most anti-male anger, the most perverse public actions and even acts of violence, you will see them commonly on some level or another to support a woman's, quote, right to abort. And one of the most interesting things of all, you'll find Satanists joining in, you'll find atheists joining in, you'll find gay activists joining in. You think, isn't it interesting how they all come together so aggressively opposing the cause of the life of the innocent? That's what the battle is over.